Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, good morning. I think that is more or less everyone. So good morning. Last bootcamp session of the week. So lucky us, not lucky you, I guess. Today we have the Facebook team with us. So we're super lucky and happy to have them around. Just to give you a little bit of context of how these sessions are going to go. So this is a first of 5 sessions that we have for you guys. This one will kind of be an overview session on the advertising solution in the Facebook family of apps, really focusing on performance marketing. And as we dive deeper, you get to speak to in the later sessions with Fizo, who's our creative director at Facebook. So he'll give you a little bit of creative tips that you guys can use on Facebook, Instagram, and all of the platforms there. Then we'll go into workshops, setting up your pages, your business managers, ad managers, all that fun stuff. Then Dimple's with us today, and in a later session, she'll take you through all the science part, all the measurement part of performance marketing. And last but not least, which is my favorite session, is all about the tech, the integrations, the API, all the nerdy stuff, I would say. So since I know everybody, but you guys don't know Tala, I'll let her present who she is first, and then you guys do your quick 1-minute intro. Hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm the founder of this particular fashion brand. So Tala, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Rafi. And what a warm welcome to have everyone joining in today's call. Really excited to get to know you better and to go through what I prepared for the session. Just as a mean of introduction, my name is Tala Abedat. I'm a client partner at Facebook, primarily on retail, fashion, quick service restaurants, and ghost kitchens as well. I've been in the company for 4.5 years now, which is almost treading at the dinosaur phase. But I have a wealth of experience in digital marketing and CPG prior to joining Facebook. And I'm really excited that we're going to be here together.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tala. Who wants to go first, guys? Who wants to intro their brand first? I'm not gonna go random this time around. Let you guys pick.
Hi, let me do it because I don't have my audio on. I'm heading to work right now. Video on. I'm heading to work right now. So I'm Dalal. I'm the co-founder of Cones and Rods. My partner Faye isn't here today. She's at work. We are a sustainable luxury eyewear company that focuses on limited edition pieces and sustainable production.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Dalal.
Faye just jumped in, by the way, Dalal. So just letting you know, speak of the devil, as they say.
Okay.
Who wants to go next, guys? Mo, you look eager to go next. Or not? All right, Dania, you're in front of me. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Dania. I'm the founder and creative director of Dania Shankar brand. It's a bag brand that focuses on sustainability and Italian craftsmanship and unconventional design.
Amazing. Nice to meet you, Dania.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Kauthar?
Yeah, hi, hello, nice to meet you. My name is Kauthar. I'm the designer of Kaf by Kaf. My brand is based on creating patterns and creating structure as a clothing.
Amazing. Nice to meet you, Kauthar. And a cute name, Kaf by Kaf.
Jude, you want to go next?
Thank you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Jude Fatani. I'm the creator and designer behind Num's Life. It's a graphic, ready-to-wear lifestyle brand that was built around the secret society of character icons.
Excellent. And I can see some. Are those the clothing line behind you? Or are these?
Yeah,
the characters. Way to brand them. Way to bring them forward. I love it. I love it. Nice to meet you, Jude.
Thanks, Jude. Mo, you're last but not least.
Hey, my name is Mohammed Bajaba. I'm the founder and creative director of Proud Angeles. Proud Angeles is a brand inspired by the community and creative individuals.
Nice to meet you, Mohammed.
Cool. All right, Tala, they're yours.
All right. Okay, let's go ahead and start. So let me just set up my screen. There we go. And if at any point you hear my doorbell ringing, that's primarily due to the fact that we're still working from home in one way or another. So you might get a glimpse on some of my deliveries that are coming through. Alrighty, so you guys should be able to see my screen by now. And really thank you so much for giving me your time. I'd like for this to be a casual session. Feel free to ask questions and maybe share some of your experiences, and hopefully I could shed some resolution to any of the issues that you might be facing with the platform. But ultimately, what the context of today's or my session will be is how could you actually build growth for your business using the Facebook platform, which that includes the likes of Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp as well. And then if you want to get a little bit more funky and futuristic, there's also Oculus, a part of the metaverse focus that the company has, if you have heard about it in the past. So really jumping in, I think you guys are the best of knowing the region, given the fact that you have your own businesses. MENA is with no doubt quite a diverse country, but it's important to navigate that. It's a very youthful population, which, as we can see, seeing you guys being so youthful and having all these brands that you are owning and sending up into the region. But it does pose an amazing opportunity, seeing the fact that e-commerce, even prior to COVID taking place, was already on the rise. And thanks to COVID, that's accelerated actually the growth. So this is the best time to open up your e-channels, or if you are thinking of expanding into specific platforms, this is the time to do it. And generally speaking, I think COVID's changed a lot of things on how we do it, which is good in terms of marketing, only because now more than ever, consumer behaviors have changed. So those who were resistant to online shopping are now more open to it. There's been an acceleration in online delivery significantly, and more people, especially in markets like, for example, Saudi Arabia, are more open to online credit buying versus cash on delivery, which was a big blocker for a lot of e-coms in the past. And the good news is that the overall e-commerce industry is on a growth. It's estimated to hit $50 billion by 2025. So let's see how you guys can take a bit of that share and help grow your businesses. So the way we're going to structure today is primarily focused on 3 directions: building, adapting, and sustaining. And there are some tips that you can do across the 3 tiers that will ultimately generate a better business for you, as well as get you to acquire new customers or even sustain the existing ones. For context, I think it's important to realize that we've come a long way. For thousands and hundreds of years, shopping was very much a human experience. So the trick is, how could we continue to have that personal human touch when it comes to online shopping while scaling your business? Because ultimately we want to make you conglomerates. We want to increase the opportunity and the potential for you guys to increase your business. And whereas in the past, the shopping was very much in a brick and mortar style, that's of course shifted online, and you guys are the true testament of what new brands operate in. So no doubt I have already an amazing idea of where you guys are present and what you do on the social platforms. It's not so much as a problem for more traditional brands that are more or less becoming slightly not in trend. Shopping behaviors has fundamentally changed. I don't know how old you guys are, but in general, in the past, the shopping experience was a thought process. It was a calculative experience where people were going shopping for a specific occasion. So there was a purposeful journey. Whereas now it's an always on behavior. And this is why you might hear my doorbell ringing. I'm always shopping, I'm always on my phone. If I see something, I'm always down to try things. And that's the majority of the consumers on the platform. And one thing it's important to highlight that in the past, I would say even e-commerce is now an archaic term. And the reason is why is e-commerce basically represents people finding products, which is great, but that's not how the new generation, yourselves, us, and like the youth are going to be exploring brands and products. They will primarily be focusing on having the products finding the people. So it's the other way around. And that's what we call discovery commerce. It's about products finding the people rather than people finding the products, which is a great thing because it means for all of your products, there is someone out there that will ultimately buy. So this is definitely a shift in perception as well. And we're seeing the big conglomerate players already respond to such behaviors, building on discovery commerce, like Amazon going live, Walmart doing a lot of collaborations, and a lot of the big brands, historic brands, really focusing on curation and driving discovery through innovative formats and solutions. And ultimately, this experience has created infinite choices, so it becomes extremely important for you to automate, and we'll talk more a lot about that later on how Facebook and the family of apps can actually help you automate a lot of your experience for the brands. And for us, you know, Facebook started off with people first. It was a university friend request style of connection, moved on to communities, to groups. We will always put people at the center of what we do. And this is just an example of some of the Love Local initiatives that and the businesses that thrive through the platform that I'd like to play for you. And I hope the audio works well.
Unfortunately, the audio does not work well.
Okay, there's captions. That's a good thing. And the reason why I bring this up is I encourage you to always stay in touch with the Facebook newsletter. The reason is why is as a company, your success means that we succeed. Ultimately, a big focus is driven behind the small, medium enterprises. And you'll notice when we go into the products later is that a lot of the products that are developed on the platform are tailored specifically for you guys and not necessarily at the beginning, at least the big conglomerates. So this is where you can really take advantage of that. And there are so many people that discover brands and businesses through the platform. So when we talked about the 3 model, the very first one is building a presence, because ultimately by just doing that, and I'm sure you guys have already done it, you are already having the right step towards being discovered and having users or potential customers come to your brand. So jumping in, when we talk about building presence, we talk about the brilliant basics, your Facebook pages, your Instagram pages, and then we'll also discuss more or less on the messaging or WhatsApp feature. I'm curious to understand maybe if you have explored it, or we can discuss it at the end, if you have toyed around with the WhatsApp as a business channel for you. But ultimately, over 80% of our users actually discover businesses through the platform. So by just being present, you're ultimately already setting yourself up for success. Make sure that you have your Facebook pages that will ultimately enable you to be also on Messenger. And the same thing goes with Instagram and WhatsApp. And if you are not familiar, we actually have a WhatsApp for business product. So it's called WABA. And it's a separate app that is different from the user app that you personally might be using. So WhatsApp for business actually allows you to have a catalog. It allows you to have opening hours, link to your website, as well as automated responses that you might be getting frequently, such as like, when do you deliver? How can I return? All these things can actually be automated to help free up more time for you guys. And when we talk about building presence, it's extremely important to keep in mind the hygiene practice, making sure that, we'll talk about product catalogs, but the information that you're displaying publicly are quite accurate. Having, for example, if you have a pop-up, or if you're only online, that opening hours, call center, whatever it is, how can they get in touch with you is always up to date. And when it comes to automation, like I said earlier, so with WhatsApp in specific, and Messenger and Instagram now, there are a lot of these features that are called quick replies that will ultimately help make your response better and faster for these consumers that are kind of asking some of the frequently asked questions. And if you are playing in a market like Egypt, for example, and I'm not so sure the scope of your countries just yet, but Egypt has an incredibly active user base when it comes to Messenger. So if you are operating in that market, do consider just toggling on your Messenger feature and automating that experience. And for the rest of the regions, WhatsApp, of course, it's quite a big thing. Now, WhatsApp is quite incredible because it does create a lot of really great use cases for businesses to really thrive. And we have lots of great examples. The screenshots are not that great, but with lots of great brands who jumped into WhatsApp cataloging and kind of selling some of their products there. And especially if you're a premium brand, we're noticing more and more of these premium luxury kind of businesses engage with one-on-one personalized shopping experiences for what they're calling the VIP experience, or the VIP customers. And ultimately, if there are times where resources can be extremely thin, especially if you're just starting off, but I do urge you to explore some of the partners that we have in our ecosystem. Some are quite have a high barrier to entry when it comes to pricing structure, but a lot of them are built to support SMB as well, to help create on your behalf either bots or channels or even automation system, similar to kind of what you would use for CRM and handling your customer base. And one thing that I wanted to emphasize is that we do have the business suite, which I hope all of you are on, because this is primarily an SMB product. My large conglomerates cannot actually use the solution as it's not accessible for them. And this is a one-stop shop that actually connects you with like scheduling capabilities, analytics, your catalog, your inventory, and things of the sort. So it's a really powerful tool to utilize from Facebook. Now, when it comes to adapting, it's important to talk about the elephant in the room, which I personally I have a pet peeve for this, and I'm turned off by brands if this is kind of more or less the case, but friction. Friction actually is one of the biggest threats that I would say will make or break companies and brands, only because I think in MENA, back in 2000 and maybe 19, if I'm not mistaken, there were $12 billion that were stuck in add to cart in the region. And not all of it, of course, is due to friction, but we could infer that some of it is due to people really being turned off by the experience. Things like, items going out of stock, slow loading pages, experiences that are not made for the mobile device. And just yesterday, I was having a discussion with a colleague of mine, and where in the past we used to say mobile first, now we're just saying mobile only, because 90% of most of the sales for large conglomerates and even smaller ones tend to happen on mobile. So if you're not thinking in a mobile space, you're already losing out on a lot of good potential customers. And that being said, We also want to ensure that partners are equipped for a mobile storefront. So this is where we have Facebook shops and Instagram shops. I do hope that you guys are on it, because if the majority of you are selling physical goods, this is a perfect way for you to display these products. And ultimately, they will help you scale the solution or the lines or the product lines that you guys have, as well as display them quite inherently in the platform. And you can also customize. I mean, there's more innovations that are taking place on how the storefront looks like. You can tailor the colors, you can tailor the fonts, the display, and there's a couple of layouts that will actually help you depending on what type of industry or like the business that you are in. So lots of good automation on that front. And when you do create your shops, I do encourage you to ensure that it's active across the platforms that you are on. So Facebook and Messenger, which is an easy toggle, Instagram and WhatsApp. And like I said earlier, there's a really good capability for you to feature specific solutions or products within the shop interface itself. And once you've created that, it becomes, how could you build a discovery model whereby you could, ensure that your call to actions on your profiles are toggling back into your shops. Your stories are always being linked to your shops. And you're using product tagging, which is quite powerful, whereby if a user clicks on it, they're automatically opening into your shops, as well as ads, which will, I believe, will be covered as well throughout the rest of the sessions. But ultimately, you can create ads that promote entirely your shop. Now, this has to be linked back to a payment portal. So whether you're working with Booney or cash on delivery or whatever it may be, a native checkout for shops is not yet in the region, but we're working on bringing that forward in the future. And when it comes to like the product tags I had mentioned, you could include that in any of the ad solutions that we have, whether it's the single images, video, carousel, or even if you're working with influencers, that has a really big section on it later on. Now, when we talk about sustaining, it's extremely important that we innovate and help you sustain the business that you are with automation. And well, luckily for everybody, or for us as consumers, around 80% of the teens and millennials actually expect that the ads are tailored to them about where they are with a specific interest and habits. They're less patient than older generations. And whereas that's great, we ultimately, as marketeers, we can't be, or brand owners, we can't be mind readers. The good thing is that automation can actually help you do that. So if you are playing around with ads when it comes to the platform, I really do encourage you to look into dynamic ads. And the reason why I say that is because this product alone has around 16 trillion signals that run through it every single year, which ultimately I would say it's one of our most powerful features, but least used by SMBs, only because it does require some tech involvement, but trust me, the return is something that will definitely help you guys in the long term. And the way it works is very simple. You might call it as the stalking feature, or some of you might say, well, yeah, I was thinking about that product and then Facebook is listening and I saw it on my mobile or something. The engine that drives it is the solution. Now, we don't stalk and we don't listen, but the way it works is very much AI driven. So there's two features. There's the retargeting feature, which basically uses everyone who's landed on your website or your shop's solution, and it retargets the products that they have seen specifically natively through Facebook. And on the flip side, for new customers or potential customers, we use the entire kind of AI that is built on signals to find new customers who have a higher propensity to buying that product from you. Now, when it comes to sustaining also, there is a function of combining art and science. And if you are working with influencers, I do strongly recommend that you focus on this section because there are ways for you to help measure and track the impact of influencers into your business. And that's what we call branded content. So branded content actually is the paid buy or the sponsored toggle that you kind of see on Instagram or Facebook. But it allows you to measure as a business the impact of these collaborations. And if you haven't tried it out already, but I do encourage you to check out Brand Collab Manager. If you want to find influencers, you want to brief influencers, or manage them or measure the impact, this is the way to go, and it's a very powerful tool that's gaining popularity. And it works. I mean, so many different case studies and examples of businesses using influencers and ultimately measuring it to help drive impact. Then we have live shopping. If you've explored it, live shopping helps a lot to drive discovery and ultimately, visibility on your brands and the products that you have underneath. And also the stickers that we have within Facebook, like product launches stickers, countdowns, and so forth. And I do encourage you to involve the community content in your shop or your products, because ultimately it does help create that UGC, user generated content style, which builds on kind of affinity and the community as well. We also have AR. I'm not too sure if you've ever dabbled with it, but it's also a great way. It's very simple. I mean, like I have friends who created AR filters for their brands, or like a filter itself that sits natively within Instagram and Facebook that can be discovered from your Instagram page as well. Now, when it comes to creative, and I know you have a session on a deep dive with with Fizo later on, but good content, just kind of rule of thumb, it's content that thumb stops. Ultimately, things that grab your attention visually, the content that is built for the mobile interface, vertical content that takes entire space and ultimately ensures that you have the consumer's attention goes a long way. And content that is relevant. So the worst thing is that you want to talk to brands about something that is not relevant for your brands. And if you haven't dabbled with this, there's a lot of tools that are free of cost that you can actually download that create superb content using free apps that will create content that is mobile first and mobile friendly with a click of a button or a click of a thumb, because it's mobile first. We also have Reels. It's a great solution. I mean, no doubt you guys are using it, but it's a great way for you to drive discovery, and it is one of the fastest way for you to reach new audiences who are in that discovery commerce mindset that we talked about. So make sure that your products and your ranges that you are publishing or releasing are constantly active when it comes to the Reel space. And you can always, of course, promote that to help gain popularity as well as engagement. And make sure to utilize the Instagram stories, because they're a built-in creative tool that you could also create them, download them, and then either use them as ads or keep them within the story highlights or any of the short form content that exists. Countdowns are new features, but ultimately it can also help you drive anticipation and urgency, as well as excitement about what the new launches that you're going to have within your range. And then one of the last two sessions that we'll talk about is measurement. And I think this is extremely important, because you want to make sure when you are embarking on your journeys that you have a measurement mindset, because you want to make sure that what you're doing, you're learning from it. What you're doing is ultimately going to be able to be measured and to help you understand what you can do better. So have a test and learn style of operating. First you can start off by asking the business question that you have, and then review the best practice or run the test and then ultimately review the learnings that help you do a better job with the next release or the next, let's say, campaign. And there's always a lot of the analytics features within Facebook, whether it's Ads Manager or the Instagram business app, that will help you get there. And if you are running campaigns, there is the test and learn feature also within Ads Manager that will help you understand things such as how much impact are Facebook campaigns, Facebook and Instagram, of course, the family of apps, is driving to your business. And lastly, I mentioned this a little bit, but there are really great ways for you to upskill yourself. We have our free online courses. They're called the Facebook Blueprint, that actually allow you to learn, on demand, what are the features that exist that will help you achieve your business goals, whether it's to drive sales or to drive brand awareness. And make sure to stay tuned or connected to the groups. Instagram, if you follow Instagram for Business as a profile on Instagram, they give a lot of great tips on how you could succeed on the platform, and the same thing for Facebook as well. So just to kind of summarize it before we open up to questions, and I'm really curious to hear what you guys are doing and where we could be of help. Build your foundations, which no doubt I think you guys are probably have nailed it. Sustain your presence by making sure that your shops are enabled and you're being discovered on the platform. And lastly, grow using the innovative formats like branded content or even AR or filters and things of the sort to help drive better adoption of your products. And wherever you can automate, I think that's extremely impactful, especially because if you're a one-person show, then that ultimately can free up a lot of your time to focus on your core business design or running it, however your scope is as of now. That's it for pretty much from my side. I know it was short and sweet, hopefully, but I'd like to open it up to questions and maybe see some of your feedback on what has been working for you guys and where you need help.
I have one question. I thank you for the great presentation. It was full of information, but I've heard actually about this went viral, the influencer measure. I've heard a lot about it, but really, how does it work? Does it measure before or after the partnership?
After. So you have to kick off the partnership with the toggle. From that point onwards, it starts to measure. But the influencer, him or herself, must tag you guys, and you would have to activate the brand collab manager to see the analytics and the insights.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
hi, Dalal.
Yeah. Honestly, we've been struggling to create the Facebook shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this is just us, but we keep getting rejected.
Okay.
So I don't know if you could be of help with that.
Yeah, Dalal, you mentioned your products were the eyewear, right?
Yes.
The eyewear company. Does it show, do you get an email or notification on the rejection reason behind it?
It was about the product itself. I'm quite unsure because I stopped doing it months ago, but it was about the product itself.
Okay. Maybe I think it would help to know exactly what the rejection was. You can always, I think if you probably see it in the shop or the manager itself, you could refute or dispute the policy rejection. There should be either a button or something that you could report to that kind of engage with our support team. But a lot of the times, some of these things can be accidentally happening only because our system is very much automated and there is some room of error. But when you do try to dispute the rejection, what will happen is it goes through a manual review. And then there will be a human behind it reviewing it and kind of vetting whether the automated system did a great job or not. But there's definitely room for that, and that can be solved. It's not, you guys should be active on shops, and if that's the only reason, that there are ways that we can definitely help bring that forward into a resolution.
Okay, thank you so much.
And allow, keep in mind that there's a session specifically on setup. So potentially when you guys are going through the setup, there might be, you know, like the team can flag you saying, oh, don't say this or that, because I run my own e-com. I sell coffee. Some of the coffee has weird terminology, such as bourbon, for example. That's just
yes, alcohol.
So
Yeah.
I always keep getting flack because it thinks it's alcohol, but after I refute, within a day or two, those items are approved, and I can advertise them, and they show up everywhere they need to show up. So, yeah, just to reiterate on the point.
All right,
Curious
that's
to know
cool.
which coffee
Thank you
you
so
sell,
much.
Rafi.
Yes,
I
you should
wanted
send us
to
your
ask something.
You should.
Yeah.
I will. Mo, you
I
had a
wanted
question?
to ask about earlier you mentioned the cash and delivery, but I kind of missed the point. Were you saying that it was slowing down business or is helping business?
Cash on delivery? No, it's well, it depends. It can create additional costs for businesses. Because think about it, cash on delivery, someone would have to go pick up the cash, drop off the product, grab that cash and deposit it somewhere. So managing the cash on delivery setup is quite hacky. Whereas if it's online, the payment gets passed with your bank directly, and you only have to worry about the logistics of fulfilling the order, less so on managing the money or managing the cash. And what could happen, I mean, like what happens at times is like the companies that you would work with, or I mean, like if it's just you delivering the products, it can prevent you from scaling up. So the good thing that happened in Saudi, for example, is that cash on delivery adoption is dropping, and more payments.
I agree up. Because I canceled it like early 2020, and just because like people would order and they just never answer, and it was just a hassle. My sales went up, actually. My sales went up. And once I did
that's great to hear. Great to hear, Mo. But yeah, definitely. And then when people delay the payment, they could really change your mind and just like not want to pay you or take the product. It's a lot of complexity, but thankfully the markets are evolving.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on this point of payment, because that's been a huge pain point for so many people. So I'm sure, as many of you guys know, in order to collect digital payments, you need a payment gateway. And that's been one huge friction point in the region, because there's only a handful of players, and even they're not the best. And I know, Tala, you mentioned Zbooni, and funny enough, the Shahub has invested money in Zbooni, so they're part of our investment portfolio. And the way Zbooni works is a little bit different than a regular payment gateway, where they kind of do all the heavy lifting for you, and kind of skip a lot of the very painful steps. But I'm just wondering, that's one that you Tala, you mentioned. Is there any other payment gateways that you would recommend? I know Stripe is coming in the region, and I'm not sure if there's a good or bad relation between Stripe and Facebook in the States. I assume it's very good, because they're probably the leading. There's also Checkout here, which is a UK-based one. So if you can just touch a little bit on that to kind of power their digital payments, I think that's a very interesting subject to discuss.
Like you've nailed it. I mean, Zbooni, the reason why I thought of it first, because when I was starting my own business, and then I have my family and friends also in the same space, I found it very native. Not my personal experience. It was very natural. It was quick. But you know, Checkout, of course, is a great partner. All of these are, you know, Facebook partners, and they could easily integrate. So I would recommend, and whenever, if you're curious, I think there's also a Teller, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like it's also quite adopted here.
I wouldn't recommend it, but yes, they do.
But I don't know the experience with Teller personally, but you know, you could always.
Can I share recommendations after Teller?
I would say personally, as Tala, not Facebook, like Tala personally, I've dabbled with this. I had a great experience from them. But I mean, there's so many that are now popping up, which is great. I mean, a sense of competition creates a better experience for us as consumers. So I would maybe encourage doing a little bit of more research on one of these, you know, companies that are emerging. But definitely these are the ones that I think of top of mind.
Just curious, just kind of asking anybody in the room, for those that do have e-com shops and collect digital payments, how did you guys set up your payment process? Is it something that, because I know in Kuwait is a little bit tricky, so I'm just wondering if it's same in Saudi, where there's some government restrictions and the government kind of, pushes you towards one or the other. While here in the UAE, we have a bit of a more free market way of approaching payment gateway. So I'm not sure how it works in Saudi, but I'm just wondering if that's a huge friction point for you guys or not really.
We don't have all the options. Sorry, Danny. I know for a fact that Shopify only work with 4 companies: Tabs, PayTabs, MyFatura, and Payfort. And knowing Payfort, they're good only.
They also use checkout and 2Checkout.
They do? Okay.
Yeah.
From experience, I know MyFatura is really the best because they only pay them once, and then their platform is easy. They transfer the money 3 times a week. So like I looked into all of them.
Well, I kind of disagree with you, Mo. So MyFatura.
Who is disagreeing with me?
No, so I'm using MyFatura right now.
Okay.
So Faye and I are using MyFatura. We switched from checkout to checkout to MyFatura. The issue with MyFatura is that one, there's a high transaction cost. So, and they do transfer every 3 times a week, which Mo, I would recommend you stop that and do the transfer once a month, just for you to save money and on the transaction cost. 2 is that
transaction cost, smart.
2 would be for MyFatura specifically, they do not accept any international cards, so they only use GCC cards. So if you're using Amex, if you're using a Visa, that's from an international.
Did you communicate with the office that you have international payments and so on?
Yes, they will not. They will refuse that because they stopped this. They stopped this action. They've had trouble with it and they stopped doing it. 2Checkout was very easy to set up in the beginning. We only had issues because we had issues with our personal bank account. Otherwise, 2Checkout was working perfectly. In Saudi, it used to take all types of cards. The only issue would be there were no the Apple Pay feature wasn't available in 2Checkout. I guess this is
nothing always complete. Yeah, you go to the other one, then they have high rates, and you go to the third one, they don't have Apple, then you go to the other one, they don't have Amex. But thank you, Dalal.
I use Tap, and they have like everything.
Yeah, I use Tap.
Yeah, they have like Apple Pay. If you want to transfer from the moon, they would provide that. Like they give you anything, any kind of card, international, local, Visa, anything they can provide. They accept any kind of card. So I would stick with Tap.
I'm just gonna add one thing. You don't have to use what's on Shopify's specific platform. You can integrate with another company, which is what I'm doing now. It's called Your Way. So the way they have their model is they don't hold on to your cash. They kind of integrate it automatically into your bank. It's a process, but if any of you are interested, we can, talk one-on-one and I'll walk you through the whole thing. But they don't have monthly fees. They only have transaction fees.
So I'm gonna recommend a silver bullet solution, but it might take a little bit of time, which I mentioned is Stripe. So Stripe, because of competition, they are being super aggressive. I know they just became available in the UAE. I'm not sure if that's the same in KSA, but at the moment they've got they have a couple of things going for you guys. Number one, they have extremely low transaction fees up until 2022. I think 1.5%, which is the lowest I've seen. There's no transfer fees to your bank account, and that can happen on a daily, monthly, whatever you guys want to set. Integration is super easy. But where the kicker comes in is that for startups or early stage brands, they give a $20,000 stipend where they take care of all the fees. So for about a year or until you run over that $20,000 transaction value, you actually have free payment gateway acquisition costs pretty much canceled. So I would strongly recommend looking into it, and at least giving them a test. Integration is super easy. All you need to do is have that. And I'm not a spokesperson for Stripe. I'm just
Sarah, I know it's Brian.
Okay.
Brothers Martin, so I'm Stripe, focus Stripe.
So
I don't think they're available in Saudi though.
okay, they will be for sure at some point, and they're the best. And what it also allows you to do is from their back end, if you've got let's say B2B deals, let's say you're selling to an offline location or department store, you have a bulk order, you can create invoices that are payable via credit card directly from their back end. So you can create, credit card invoices directly and send those to your customers, B2B customers, and receive your funds directly into your bank. Anyway, that's just a whole side conversation. I just wanted to touch upon this point because I know it's a pain point for many, and I just wanted to do a little sense check here. And I don't want to take away from the core of the conversations, which is, again, the other part of the funnel, which is trying to get everybody into it and incentivize them to buy. I know this is kind of like the end of the funnel where you make the purchasing a lot easier. But Tala, I'm so sorry.
It's an important one, right? I mean, we can't prove that we're working unless we're selling. So definitely a healthy conversation.
Yeah, indeed.
I have a question for Tada. So in general, my building the e-commerce side of the business has been very mixed up, I would say, because I had Wix to begin with, and I don't have a developer, so I'm kind of self-learning how to build and CEO and all of that. After I was done with that, and I, kind of subscribed for 2 years, and all my payments were done, and I finished designing the site. I also connected it to Facebook shops because I wanted to make my posts like clickable.
Taggable, yeah.
And the same thing, I was just kind of self-learning. I created a catalog, and then I tried to like export stuff and import them. And so I don't know how to manage Facebook, but I kept trying until something worked. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know how I did that, but it works. And then I found out, like, during that process, I found out that my Wix no payment gateways here connect with Wix. So I had to, after like a year of working on that, I had to restart. Yeah, I had to restart everything on Shopify to have the payment. So now I'm connected to Shopify, but I don't know what Facebook is connected to, and I'm afraid to kind of delete the catalogs and for like to go back to start, because I don't know how that would affect everything. And I'm not sure how, because I have my own like e-commerce or like website now, I don't know how important it is to have Facebook shops be fully activated, and if it's not gonna kind of integrate with Shopify, I think it's just gonna add a hassle, because as I mentioned, I don't have someone working on e-commerce. I'm just, kind of managing.
So you have a website that's developed separate from Shopify, or is your website provider also Shopify?
My domain, or no, my domain is GoDaddy.
Okay, and the domain, like, who built the website? Is it Shopify? Like, did you use a template or?
Oh yeah, I did it through Shopify.
Okay, great. So the good thing is Shopify integrates quite well with Facebook. They're, I think one of the first partners we probably piloted it with. So that's the good thing. So hopefully we won't be as hacky as your experience in the past. But even though your question was, why would I have shops if I have, my website placed in? The best way to drive discovery for your products is to be native. Now it does not supplement, like it's not either or, but it does complement the experience, because ultimately, even if someone were to, if you go to the explore tab if on Instagram, for example, let me see if I could yeah, so one of the tabs is the shopping tab. So if you have your shops plugged in, the system will automatically push your products natively. So think of it as an additional source for people to get to know your brands. So I do encourage you to have that. It will only complement, it will not contradict. It's not going to replace your website.
No, I wanted it for more for Instagram, so people can like click through and go straight to the website. But the thing is now it's some of the, not all of the items are coming in as clickable, or I can't find them in the catalog, and it's getting into I don't know if
buggy.
like I don't know if I should like delete everything, and I don't know where. I open the the manager, like Facebook manager, and I keep clicking through, but it's I mean, I know there's a lot of like learning to be done, but it doesn't seem very easy or like user friendly.
No, I hear you, and I personally also gave that same feedback. It wasn't as natural as it should be, the experience. Now that was I think over a year and a half ago, so I would hopefully think that the experience has changed.
I think it's more for developers or people who know what they're doing, or that know understand.
So if I can offer my personal experience, because we build a lot of startups, and the best way to build these startups is launching more or less everything on Shopify, because it's super easy. And there's we haven't really discovered, but there's a proper process and flow in order to get all that integration up and running in no time. So usually you start with building your Facebook flow, which is your Facebook page, Facebook account, ads manager. All of that is part of the first stage of the setup. And then once you set up your Shopify, the integration is quite easy once both parts are done clean. And then when it comes to product feed into your Facebook ad manager, and then subsequently into your Instagram shop, that's also relatively easy to do, as long as you have a clean and systematic approach of uploading your product data. Where you have clean product description, clean product titles, the brands are very clear, and since you guys all own your own unique brands, you're not going to really face any issues with restrictions or anything like this, because if you're a multi-brand store and you don't have the proper authorization to sell another brand's brand or items, usually this is where Facebook sometimes kind of likes to flag things around. But because you guys own that, as long as you have a systematic and consistent approach of product upload into your Shopify, and that is connected, it's super simple to connect, then you're good to go. Where you might need a little bit more help, and this is where sometimes we utilize freelancers from Upwork and Fiverr, is on the tracking and making sure your pixel is set up correctly, and all the events that happen on, whether it's on your website or your Facebook or Instagram shop, are set up correctly. And that is a one-time thing. And once that's done, and it's not as difficult as it sounds, then you've got everything ready to go. So as soon as you start uploading new products, those automatically show on your front end on the Facebook or Instagram shops. It's relatively easy. If that's something that you guys need help with from the greenhouse perspective, we can always try to set up a session with some of our integration specialists, just to kind of look at how things are set up for your eShop and understand if there's any issues, and we'll figure out a quick way to fix those. But in general, everything is turnkey, out of the box, and relatively easy to use, especially if you're using a Shopify as your core platform. But that's just a kind of
I think the hard part is backtracking, and if someone already knows how to function with the app, it might take him 5 minutes. But because for me, I open it and it's overwhelming. I'm like, I can't do this now. I have a million other things, so I just, I keep pushing it to this.
We know, and this is kind of, you guys are, so a lot. this has always been the question, like once you jump into any entrepreneurial venture, you come with your skill sets, and there's a million other skill sets that you kind of need to know. And that's why when we build startups, we like to have co-founders, somebody that kind of is your other half and can manage the other stuff. But we understand that's not always the case. And an entrepreneur always has this suite of tools and knowledge. And sometimes you have to learn that on your own, or sometimes you go out and find a friend that does that, and you pay somebody $50 to do the integration because it's relatively simple for some people. So there's ways around to hack it. So that's what I'm saying, like 100%. If you don't know what you're doing, it's very scary. But in principle, once you get a little bit into it, it's actually not that difficult. And both platforms, or most platforms out there, are becoming a lot no code kind of movement and around it. So integration is quite simple. So anyway, we'll look into this and help you guys out if anybody has any issues with this, because we know that this is an incredibly important part of your funnel in the digital front. And any kind of bad customer experience does have a relatively negative effect in general for your brand. So that's something that's quite important.
Guys, I just have to go, for my store opening is tomorrow. Momo for my team is here. He's going to update me on what's missing. But I really appreciate you, Tala, and everyone. And thank you, guys. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Mo. No issues.
Good luck, Mo.
Best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thank you.
luck,
Hope you guys
Mo.
all visit the store tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay. Where is it, Mo?
Riyadh Boulevard, Times Square 2, G7. That's the store.
Okay.
Send us an
We'll see you.
invitation. It's a VIP
Please.
tomorrow.
والله أول أبشر. خلاص. All right, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Tala, I wanted to touch a little bit about WhatsApp for Business, because I do think that's a very powerful tool, and I do still that is still underutilized. Can you explain to us, can you give us like a small case study or an explanation how an early stage fashion brand can use it, and how a team can use it? I think that's really, really interesting. And I think that's a very interesting topic to cover, just briefly.
Yeah, sure. Look, WhatsApp for Business is quite powerful. I use it as well. By the way, I use it for my clients because it has a lot of these amazing features that help me automate my job a little bit. It's very easy to set up. You just basically download WhatsApp for Business. Like you can go on Google, type in WhatsApp for Business. And the cool thing is that you can link it to your Instagram. You can link it to your Facebook. And then people who want to get in touch with you, whether to inquire further about a specific product, or to ask about your return policy, or available payments, or whatever it may be, they can do that directly through WhatsApp. And the cool thing is you can create a bot. You could actually create like quick replies through an FAQ that offsets that conversation quite a lot. There's more and more adoption of one-to-one conversation interest in the region now, more than ever before. So, and especially so for premium brands as well. The whole personalized shopper experience, things like that go a long way. And then for the more advanced WhatsApp for Business users, you can even send out like product releases, your new ranges, or product catalogs that you have just released. So as like the editorial stuff, you can also blast that out through WhatsApp. But I personally love it. The worst thing that you don't want to do is set up WhatsApp for Business and then neglect it, because then people will be like, hello, anyone there? Which is kind of, let's say, unsatisfactory with the experience. So having that plugged in, the good thing is you can also use it on a desktop. You can have opening hours. For example, if you're open from 9 till 6 p.m. And then someone messages you at 7 p.m., then an automatic response can go like, hey, we're currently not open, but rest assured we'll come back to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. So all of these can actually help go a long way for you guys.
And correct me if I'm wrong, WhatsApp for Business, can you integrate kind of shipping messages, like automated shipping messages, like, hey, your product, we received your order. Yes, it's on the way. It's been delivered, all that stuff.
Yes, you can. You can. It's just a little bit more advanced. So you would require to work with the BSP to enable that feature. It's not native within the WhatsApp business app. It's like a couple of steps higher up, but it's definitely there. It's through the WhatsApp API, which only is accessible through our business suppliers. That there's ZZG Tech, there is Chat Food. There, even though Chat Food is Chat Food, but they also do for fashion, and other partners that exist that have low barriers of entry.
Okay.
I have one question about business, WhatsApp for business. And I've been searching a lot for this one, which is bulk messaging on WhatsApp business.
Book messaging, like booking an appointment?
No, not book, which is BULK. I have
mass messaging.
Yeah,
right?
bulk messaging. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you can never create broadcast lists because most of them contacted you through a link.
Yeah.
You know, so you will never be able, which is a really sad feature for business for WhatsApp, because they know that most people are not saving your number. It's not like regular WhatsApp. You can only forward to 5 people and all that usual blah 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 for WhatsApp, you know that. So like, is there any feature that I can message like 1,000 people in 1 second? Because I really want that.
No, there is, and it's the right thinking to have, Kauthar. One thing that I think WhatsApp does not want to become is a spamming SMS style or an email, which is really spammy. So the feature that Rafi had mentioned or asked about earlier has that, but it's not available through the native WhatsApp business app. So it's not the one on your phone. You would then have to work with what we call a BSP, and then they tailor the experience for you. I'm not too sure about their pricing structure, but I mean, happy to send the list of the BSPs that exist out there. You know, I'm trying to think if you're working with, I don't know, Sprinkler or these guys, they have these features included already. So if you're using any social listening tool or management tool, whatever it may be, some of them have that WhatsApp feature. Otherwise, you'd have to kind of directly go to them in specific for this. But it does exist, just not in the WhatsApp for Business native app. It's the more advanced.
So it just needs my data, like only my data, and then the PSP will work.
You will need to pay them a fee because they will design that experience for you. And you will share with them the details, the data, and then they will create a template, and then you can use that template as often as you want.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. And I would recommend everyone to do it. No, really, because like people are so attached to WhatsApp. If you send a message to their mails letter, they will never open it. But if you send something to WhatsApp, they will definitely. I always send my catalogs, like my new collection catalogs. And once my sad assistant do it for all the people on the WhatsApp. And then like the next day we receive crazy orders.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great case study.
Way, yeah.
Danya, go for it. Go for it, Danya.
Sorry. So I'm not really familiar with using Facebook. I haven't used it in a while. And every time I go on the page, I just opened it, my page. And I don't know, there are so many buttons and I always get overwhelmed. Where do you think I should start? Like, what do you think are the 3 things that I should start with just to like make my Facebook page more active?
Automate. So you have the ability to create automatic replies. So do that, because then it means you have to be on it less. Make sure that your information is updated, your cover page, profile, opening hours, calls, your number, the website, things like that. So make sure the hygiene best practices in there.
And lastly, posting on my wall, or I don't know if they still call it.
You have to kind of post on your wall. You can schedule them as well in advance. So like you could do like 1 post every 2 days or so, and then set up your shop, which is the same one as Instagram.
I did that before. I set up my shop, and then for some reason now when I entered, it's not there anymore. I don't know what the issue is.
Okay, it should be one of the tabs. But if you go to your business suite, you should be able to manage it. So, or your commerce manager,
I'm on my commerce manager now.
Okay, great. So I think you should be able to double check your Instagram, everything, all the shops for Instagram, Facebook, and then later on for WhatsApp. All of it is managed from that center location. But it should be present unless it was either rejected for policy or if it was hidden by accident or something. So
and let's say I'm on the commerce manager. Sorry, this is a technical question. It's just I don't know how to use Facebook anymore. Do I add my products from the catalog section?
It should be, but I would Dania, I would keep that question for the setup discussion, only because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if they're going to take you through the step-by-step guide, you can then stop them right there and ask, hey, but I've tried this, how could I do it better? And I think that will be a much higher chance of getting the specific answer that you're looking for from that session. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that session's with Mia, and she's really awesome. So she'll help you with all those things. I know it could be super overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing, and there are a lot of, because there's so many features.
Yeah.
And you know, like, I mean, in general, you will have a personalized session, and you guys can go into a little bit more technical. You can deep dive, and you can actually do the thing on the back end. So it'll be fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions? This has been I like this discussion. It's really hitting some of the pain points that you guys are having. Do you have any other pain points, guys? You know, concerning Facebook?
Yeah, I do have one about the Facebook for Business, which is a crazy, like, I know Dania talked about it a little bit, but talking about the workshop for Facebook Blueprint, would that help me with the way that I will use Facebook for Business?
So the idea behind all these sessions, so this session is more like a sampler plate of all the cool things you can do with the Facebook family of apps. Then we're going to start diving a lot of it deeper in each one and how to best utilize it. And these are going to be a little bit more hands-on. You'll probably be opening your own Facebook ad managers, understanding how to build a campaign, how to build a proper campaign. The Facebook team has been super generous, and they're going to give you $1,000 each just to play around with content that you either have created, content that we're creating for you, set up the campaigns, measuring the campaigns, seeing their impact, understanding the tracking, really the full funnel, setting up your Instagram shops and Facebook shops, potentially doing campaigns to drive traffic to those shops and generate conversion. They're really going to cover all of the core basics when it comes from setup to measurement, and that whole funnel. I keep saying the word funnel because that's how we function. And yes, so you'll have a very much a hands-on approach. So make sure you book those sessions with the guys. I know that Sinead has sent out a calendar type, and these are going to be super impactful for you guys because they directly affect your top line revenue, and that's super important for you guys.
After this talk.
The calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So Sinead will be sending out a calendar so you can start booking those sessions with our Facebook experts, and we have a lot of them eager to help you guys out. Other maybe non-technical questions?
No, I'm good.
They're all technical.
That's fine. Tyler, can you touch a little bit on the AR? I think that's quite interesting, and it's actually a lot simpler than it actually sounds when you start using augmented reality. I think that's a fun one, especially from a content perspective.
Yeah. So it's quite easy to do. It's a free platform, so it's called Spark AR. We don't charge you guys anything to set that up. I believe you just need a program from a designing perspective to create it. And there's some like templates that you can use, but then you can ultimately publish that and it will be visible on your Instagram and Facebook page. What's really, really cool is I actually see, they don't have to be completely complicated. Like it doesn't have to be the item being worn or whatever it may be. it could be literally like, I don't know, some backgrounds. It could be the date and the time. It could be like hashtag, I'm very outdated, hashtag outfit of the day. I don't know, whatever it may be, right? So it could be related back to your business, but it doesn't have to be over the top. And that really, really helps drive discovery for brands. Like I realized I was using one of my favorite filters on Instagram that had, I think back in the day, it was like the location where I'm posting from or something. I didn't realize that that was actually a brand filter. A brand made that filter and I was using it, and it had like over 500,000 hit list users that are using it from all over. So it's a great way to get your brand out there, and to maybe do some subtle branding here and there with your brand name or a character, maybe an icon from your brand image that can be also present. But it's, if you go to sparkar.com, it gives you very, very clear instructions on how to do it. And you know, I have friends who've done it themselves, and they're definitely not designers or developers. So if they can do it, I think anyone can. I'll probably try it out when I have the free time.
Cool. And that's another. We'll touch on AR in one of the sessions, I believe. Actually, so this is my last question for you, Tala. But can you touch a little bit on Jiffy? I know Facebook acquired Jiffy, and I think that's a super cool tool and relatively easy to use. And I think it's phenomenal. I mean, so can you talk a little about what Jiffy is and what it looks like, and all of that? I think
Agreed. And actually, it's one of the things that I would always encourage my clients to do. So Jiffy is also a free platform. It's like a GIFizer, like it's it creates GIFs. If you guys are familiar with what that is, I'm not so sure what generation you're in, but they were a big thing back in the day, and they're still available on like WhatsApp and stuff. But when you create a GIF on Jiffy and you upload it, it's accessible on Instagram stickers. So all of our stickers actually, yeah, exactly. They all funnel from here. So you just need to create a profile, you need to sign up for it. I think it's free of charge. You upload your design, and then with a brand, your brand name. And then when I go on Instagram stickers and hashtag the name, you will see all of the stickers that you've created populate from Jiffy. So like, if you go to stickers and there, so you can actually create them, and all of these vectors will be used on your stories. So that's how you can also add a bit of creative and branding into your design. So if you have your brand stickers already there, and then whenever you're posting on stories, you can always add them exactly into is that your brand, Rafi?
That's my brand. So I just wanted to show you guys so it's just coffee stuff, so we just created a couple of coffee stickers just to play around with, and that's it.
I love how you're in line with also Mr. Beans. So
I know it's a little bit, I mean, obviously the search term is killing me, but
yeah. But it's okay. I mean, like if you can even use your brand. So you can do your brand name, you can do generic terms if they're available, and then you can also play around, and that's a really good way for you to get your brand out there.
Yeah. That's really cool. So I create my sticker through Jiffy, and then it will show up on all this power. Even Snapchat, I think, uses same stickers.
It could be. I mean, it's a shared platform. I mean, that really helps make the experience better and easier for everybody who's using it.
But you guys own it. Facebook owns Jiffy, right? I thought there was an acquisition of the tool.
I don't know if we own it. I know we work quite closely with them. My information could be outdated though, because things happen so fast in the company. But I think to my latest knowledge, we don't. But I mean, I could double check that. It won't take me.
No, I think it's just such a cool tool. It creates a lot of engagement, and it can really kind of scale the exposure of your brand, especially if you create very unique stickers, and they don't even have to be branded. You could just be from a creative standpoint.
Exactly.
You could just create a kind of sticker. So very easy to get started. I think you just need to prove ownership of your Instagram handle, and I think that's pretty much it. And you're ready to go. That was the last question from me, guys. Does anybody have any other questions for Tala while you have her?
We're ashamed to ask. We asked so much today. Thank you.
Awesome. If there's no other questions, this session, as all the other sessions, guys, are of course recorded. We'll be sending the deck and the recording and a survey as usual after this. So thank you for the first week. This is the end of the first week, guys. So hopefully it has been fruitful, impactful. There's been a lot of learning, a lot of interaction. I've been very happy with kind of how things have turned out. Next week is going to be even more intense, so get ready for that. And yeah, if as I've always said, if you guys have any questions for us, please reach out. We're more than happy to jump on a call. And yeah. That pretty much wraps it up. Thank you very much, Tala, for your time. Thank you, the Facebook team in general. They've been a very close partner of ours and been super generous with how they interact with this program. So thank you very much, Tala, and I'll push that sentiment to the rest of the team as well, or if you can as well, if you see them. And yeah, that's about wraps it up, guys. Any last comments, questions, concerns?
Thank you, Tala. It was so informative.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. And really, I wish you all the best of luck. I noted down the brand names, so expect me to be stalking your products, and hopefully you'll find maybe a WhatsApp order from me or Instagram. But thanks a lot, everybody. And I wish you a best of luck in the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Awesome,
everybody.
guys. Have a great end of day and great weekend. We'll see you Sunday.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Have a good day.